1609, that's where I live, yeah.
Wait a second.
You want me to move over?
Sure, I don't see anything. Oh, nice. Yeah, just I'm fat.
I wasn't gonna say anything. Good to see ya.
See you too.
Sorry for your loss.
1609, yeah. Thank you. Wait for your name.
What do I do with that one?
Wait for instructions. Thank you.
Oh. I was gonna say, I'm gonna kill you. So I'm by myself. I'll hang out with you. Thanks, girl.
But then you got the keys, and some of this is part of it, some of this is.
Happy man. Good.
Ready? Call the meeting to order at 18:03.
Greetings in the name of the state of Maine, you are hereby required to notify and warn the inhabitants of the Forks Plantation and said plantation affairs to meet at the town hall in said plantation on Thursday, September 4th, 2025 at 6:00 p.m. there to act on the following articles to wit. Article number 1, to choose a moderator to preside at said meeting. Do I have any nominations?
Nominate Charlie Hathaway.
I second it. Any other nominations?
In the spirit of knowing that Charlie would prefer not to do this, I will nominate myself if no one else is.
And I second.
Yeah, I second that.
Perfect.
All in favor?
In that case, we're gonna need to have,
I rescind my nomination.
okay. So it sounds like all in favor of Justin Stimson, are you okay with the rescinding of the?
Yeah.
All in favor of, having Justin Stimson as our moderator? Soon. All opposed? Motion
Sorry, I'm not
passed.
laughing at
Justin is our moderator, so I have to swear Justin in.
I, Justin Stimson, do swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and of this state so long as I shall continue a citizen thereof. I, Justin Stimson, do swear that I will faithfully discharge to the best of my abilities the duties incumbent on me as the moderator of this meeting according to the Constitution and the law of the state.
And then you have to sign it. And I only have a red pen. Here. Justin will take over from here.
All right, please bear with me. I'm not a professional moderator, but I'll do my best to keep things organized and civil. I'm gonna provide just a little bit of context and summary on behalf of the Board of Assessors for why we're all gathered here tonight and why we're not gathered here tonight. Some of you may have read some of this, but I'll repeat it for those who haven't. So throughout the months of June and July, I myself had several folks on various occasions share their wish with me that Lake Moxie Road would be an ATV access route. That would be from Troutdale Indian Pond Road all the way to 201. These comments came from a variety of perspectives, local camp owners, visiting riders, local riders alike. Many folks who said that they just won't ride their wheelers down to town, whether they're visiting or whether they're local on that side of the road, because of the length of time it takes predominantly. The condition of the trail is a complaint, but the backbone of it, of all of the remarks that I received was the amount of time it takes to get from, just for the sake of reference, the Moxie boat ramp to the 201 Moxie Road intersection. So after several more discussions with locals and visiting riders alike, there was kind of a prevailing sentiment saying that we as a community here in the Forks may in fact be losing traffic and business to the surrounding towns who do allow in-town on-road ATV access. I had several conversations, of course, with our resident expert on the matter, Ben Toll, who articulated well the challenge of maintaining that single trail into town as it collects all the traffic in and out from surrounding areas, folks that are riding in from parked elsewhere, and the relief it would bring to maintenance efforts on that particular trail by moving a portion of the wheeler traffic onto Moxie Road if it was a legal option. There seemed to be enough interest in this that I did bring it to the Board of Assessors to discuss at our July Board of Assessors meeting. So that was the first time this came to a public meeting, was July. Between our July and August Assessors meeting, I was charged by my colleagues here with determining the feasibility and the legality and the possibility of even pursuing this or how it would proceed. Then at our most recent Assessors meeting on August 19th, I shared what I had learned about the process to move this forward for consideration by the town residents and the assessors alike, and we voted to hold this special town meeting on the matter to get input from yourselves. So the procedure is as follows, and I will, bear with me here because there is a slight change to the procedure of tonight's meeting. So at this meeting, we're holding a special town meeting to discuss, consider, amend, and vote on the following article, which is visible there. However, there's been a change to the legal standing of this evening's vote. In the last 24 hours, we were made aware that my interpretation of Maine Statute 12, Section 13157, A6H was not entirely accurate. In my research in that month and consultation with county officials, IFNW, ATV club leaders, it was concluded that because this is a town road in question, it's a matter for the town voters. However, in a recent correspondence that our clerk Susan had over the weekend and then finally responded to yesterday on Wednesday on an ancillary topic relevant to this meeting, we were informed by one of the Maine Municipal Association directors that this matter is actually considered a non-delegable authority by the municipal officers. In this case, that's us, the assessors. And what this means in plain English is that by state statute, the municipal governing authority, in our case, the Board of Assessors, holds the only authority to establish any town road as an ATV access route, with or without voter input. Thankfully, I can speak for myself as well as Dave and Charlie that this is not a matter that we would ever consider taking action on without the input of the town's residents. So we consider this meeting still important and your input and vote tonight important. So to put it shortly, there's no real material change in the gravity of tonight's vote. There's simply the added legal step of a Board of Assessors vote to formalize our establishment of an ATV access route on Lake Moxie Road if the voters so choose, before requesting the Somerset County Commissioners to take up the matter on September 17th in Skowhegan. Again, this vote will be a non-legally binding vote tonight. It will be a straw poll of sorts, a poll of voter sentiment by secret ballot, as will likely be requested as we proceed. So while we're all are welcome to this meeting and the input of all concerned is important to the matter, it's important to remember that this is a town vote only. Only residents can vote in this poll. In addition, another element here, just as a reminder, municipal law states that for anyone other than a town resident, that being a registered voter, if you are not registered to vote in the town of Forks, you may not speak without a 2/3 affirmative vote by the residents present. That means that for someone to speak who is not a resident, 2/3 of the voters present tonight will have to approve for that to happen. The most important thing tonight is to keep the discussion civil, reasonable, and focused only on this matter. Voters will have a right to move to a vote at any time if they think the discussion is no longer effective or necessary. And then just as one last aside, a reminder that because a large portion or a majority of the Moxie Road, about 60%, routes through unorganized territory of Moxie Gore, even with your vote tonight and any subsequent vote by the Board of Assessors in the future to this meeting, it will need to be brought before the county commissioners for a vote of approval at their upcoming meeting, likely to be September 17th at 3 p.m. at the Somerset County Courthouse. So if, for those of you that are here that are not Forks residents, but maybe live in Moxie Gore or adjacent to the road, but in not a town portion, that will be a meeting where your voice can be heard more readily, and I encourage you to engage in that. Okay, so that's the preamble. Are there any questions at all about what I mentioned about how this vote will work? This is a non-binding vote tonight. Okay, and I assure you that the three of us will take your input and opinions and thoughts and concerns on this matter as seriously tonight, whether or not it was going to be a binding vote or not, okay? I believe you'd like to make a motion?
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion that, rather than individually, requiring a 2/3 majority for everybody that likes to speak, I would like to see if the people would vote to, a blanket vote, so we let anybody who wants to speak rather than voting on each individual. And just a blanket vote that folks, as the moderator moves through and raise their hand, that anybody, whether you're a resident or not, can or cannot speak. So.
I'll second that motion. I'm gonna let you do most of the second since I'm on it.
Does anybody have any questions about what it is that I'm asking? Okay. So,
I'll second.
so I guess you folks have,
All in
That's
favor?
announced. All in favor?
okay.
All opposed? Okay, so with that being said, all non-residents now have approval to speak. We should still maintain civility and order. If you would like to speak and you are a resident, please raise this green card. If you would like to speak and you're not a resident, please just raise your hand and we'll come around to you accordingly. We should. I think it would be a wise request that we keep comments to about 3 minutes, if that's possible. And
I'll make a motion that we limit the speaking to 3 minutes.
you can't, no, we have to wait for the vote.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
This was a motion to keep.
For 3 minutes.
Okay, so.
All opposed?
One opposed. The motion passes.
Do you have a green card?
Oh, yeah, Matt, you should have a green card.
Yeah,
Or,
I got it.
yeah. Okay, so, Article 2 of the warrant currently reads, to see if the people will vote to establish the Lake Moxie Road, those sections located within the Forks Plantation, as an ATV access route for the entirety of the 2026 Maine ATV season. This will be considered a probationary period with a mandate to assess the success of this change following the 2026 Maine ATV season, and subsequently to hold a vote to establish the entirety of Lake Moxie Road as an ATV access route, those portions in the Forks, permanently, thereafter at a duly convened special town meeting. Signage and ongoing maintenance of signage shall be the responsibility of local trail clubs at the direction and discretion of municipal and county officials. If approved by the Forks Plantation, this change will only take effect provided the subsequent approval by the Somerset County Commissioners regarding that portion of Lake Moxie Road located in Moxie Gore. We need a motion to,
Open the floor to
we
discussion.
need a motion to accept it as read, and then we discuss, and then any amendment. So we need a motion to accept this as read, and then there'll be a second, second, and then a discussion at which amendments, changes can be discussed. That would be the point in the meeting when we will have our discussion.
Make a motion, we accept it as read. All in favor? All opposed?
Any discussion on the matter? I have discussion as the moderator, because of the legal change, as I discussed earlier, I've drafted an amended proposal that reflects that legal change here. I'm gonna scroll down to that. There are two changes in this case. To see if the people wish for the Board of Assessors of the Forks Plantation to establish the Lake Moxie Road. I won't read the whole thing again. The next change is, to assess the success of this change following the 2026 Maine ATV season and subsequently to hold a public vote by referendum to establish the entirety of Lake Moxie Road as an ATV access road permanently thereafter. The next change is actually kind of ancillary, with further digging into paragraph H of that chapter and section. The appropriate signage for the ATV access route actually has to be provided by the municipality that approves that as an ATV access route. Maintenance and, placement and such can be handled by clubs, but the actual signs themselves need to be provided by the municipality. So in our section, it would be the Forks. In the county section, it would be the county that provides that signage. And it's them that is charged with making sure that there's appropriate signage. So those are the three changes that I would recommend amendments for.
Make a motion, we accept the amendment.
I second.
All in favor?
All opposed? Discussion.
I believe we have to vote on your first motion before we can move on to the second.
Oh, what was the first motion? I'm sorry.
Your original article.
Oh, to
If we're
accept.
gonna follow the
Oh, okay, so
procedures and protocols,
So just for an amendment, we actually have to vote this out?
the first one, so we believe.
Yeah, I would, you know.
I think
Well,
that
he
that's
would
right.
know.
No.
Okay.
Vote.
I think he knows.
Okay,
You know,
Okay,
if
so-
we accept it as written, then we propose
yeah,
the
we,
amendment.
yeah. I don't know, I think we can vote this for a minute. If it makes everybody feel better, we can vote this one down and then move to the next one. Want to do that, cover the bases?
Yeah, but we have, to. I mean, that, we can't tell them to vote it down, we have to,
Right,
we have to vote for the original one. And in order to be able to have the second one apply, we have to vote the first one down. That's how that works, but we can't ask you guys to vote it down.
I make a motion to disregard the current proposal and move to the amended proposal.
We need to vote on the first motion.
Right. All in favor of Article 1 as originally read, raise your hands. All who want to reject that article as read, raise your hand. Awesome.
okay, now we may have a motion to accept this amended proposal as written.
Yes.
Let's do that again.
I make a motion that we accept the amended article.
All in favor of accepting the amended proposal as written? All opposed? Discussion. Yep.
I just want to clarify, when you said commissioner, is it, can you clarify what commissioner means? You said, I think you said state commissioner, you need to get approval?
Is the county commissioner.
County
So
commissioner,
The
so-
section of Moxie Road, and if anybody else wants to do this, so I'm not mixing water.
The whole supposed to.
Yeah, the section of Moxie Road in the middle that is in Moxie Gore,
Correct.
it's unorganized territory controlled by the authority of the county.
So be the commissioner of transportation, just to,
It would be the county commissioners, I believe there's 7 of them. And they
Okay.
meet, so they will take this up, they'll take this up at a subsequent meeting and vote. And that's why at the bottom here, if approved by the Forks Plantation, this will only take effect provided by the subsequent approval by the Somerset County Commissioners regarding the portion of Lake Moxie Road in Moxie Gore. So if we determine as a town to move forward with this and the county commissioners determine not to, then it will not move forward. Okay.
Wanted to give a kind of a general overview of the club's perspective on
Yes.
this change.
Yeah, absolutely.
3 minutes?
We did, Ben is an invited speaker to this, so, if he takes a little extra time, give him a little bandwidth on.
Good afternoon, my name is Ben Toll. I serve as president of the Lake Moxie ATV Club. The town asked me to provide some input on the proposed access road from my experience dealing with local towns, landowners, and state neighboring clubs. First, I want to be clear, this did not originate from myself or the club. But that said, I believe this presents an extreme value or opportunity for this community. My role here is to act as a resource and share an informed perspective on behalf of the riding community, our members, and landowners. I do not have a dog in this fight. I do not even have ATV access to my local business. I want to start with some regional context. Every surrounding town, Greenville, Jackman, Bingham, Emden, Moscow, Heartland, Orange Walk, and Fairfield already allow ATV access on local and state roads. Heartland alone has 92 miles of designated access routes. In contrast, we have maybe a mile. So we're a little bit behind the curve compared to our neighboring communities that have embraced ATV access as part of their culture and their economy. So why this matters to me and the club? Well, first and foremost, I think it's the local residents, the landowners who live on the Lake Moxie Road and the surrounding areas. They would gain direct trail access without having to trailer their machine. We do have a couple parking rides in town. As we know, the ball field fills up very quickly on weekends, and the Lake Moxie parking ride, you can only fit a couple of trucks and trailers there. The local economy, the shared road access strengthens our recreational friendly image. With snowmobile season shrinking, ATV use continues to grow. Local businesses rely on this kind of steady year-round outdoor activities. Convenience and community. Many residents and camp owners around Moxie want easier access to town for basic services. The current trail through town is long, rough, time-consuming. Shorter, quicker alternative would meet that need as such opportunities. To give an example, I did drive it with my pickup truck earlier this week, and I can get through in two-wheel drive. It's rough, but it's certainly passable. And I want to also say it's not just about trail conditions of why you want to open up additional access. I'll give you an example. I have motorcycles, and occasionally I like to go to a restaurant or have a drink. And if I just had my car, I may not go. But it's something different, something exciting. It's something that's diverse. And this community is why I moved here. It's for the diversity of all types of outdoor activities, whether it's snowmobiling, ATVing, hiking, biking, fishing, rafting. There's something for everybody. I want to also talk about tourism alignment for this area. You know, across the country, if you guys have been to Sedona, Arizona, it's extremely busy, and the roads are open to ATVs. New Hampshire, Gorham, New Hampshire, that community thrives on ATV traffic. West Virginia is based on ATV traffic. A lot of tons of trails there, thousands of miles of trails. In Maine, as a state, we have over 1,000 miles of shared access routes in the state. Now, safety considerations, safety is obviously a very big concern, but I believe that if ATVs are operating at posted speed limits with traffic, they shouldn't be treated any differently than a motorcycle or another vehicle. There'll always be some bad behavior with people, just like there are with cars. But right now, riders are already utilizing this road kind of illegally, and they're speeding because they don't want to get caught. So legalizing access actually provides more enforcement tools and reduces risky behavior. I do have a statistic from the Maine Department of Transportation, and their studies show that an overwhelming majority of the ATV accidents occur on roads that are not ATV designated, usually because of speed or poor signage. And for reference, for the last 10 years since the majority of these roads opened, there's about 40 accidents a year, and again, the majority of these are on non-access routes. So in closing, this proposal is more than just convenience. It's about aligning our neighbors, supporting local businesses, giving residents reasonable access, and embracing recreation as part of our culture and economy. If I had my druthers, I would want more trails. I want trails everywhere. I want different types of trails. We have riders that want rough trails. We have riders that want dirt road riding. We want something for everybody. Giving another example is that we're expanding bicycle traffic in both of our towns, and we're gonna have a lot more bike traffic going up the Lake Moxie Road, so we have to be cognizant of all types of safety issues. Again, I guess it's just, at the end of the day, it's not just about the conditions of the trails. If we made them all paved roads, we still want more access for people to utilize the sport that they love. So thank you for your time. If there's any questions, I did invite some other trail masters with some local clubs that have experience dealing with these issues. And their towns are open roads, so three people, Scott Robinson, Kevin Roberts, and Mark Constantine. So if anybody has any questions for them, let us know.
Thank you, Ben.
Yes, thank you.
Yes.
Just on your comment about safety, I mean, my name is David Greenleaf, I live on Lake Moxie Road, I'm halfway across, I'm right in the middle of this thing, I've been there for 27 years, and I see all this happening for 27 years. ATVs, I'm not gonna say are speeding anywhere near as much as trucks are speeding. The trucks are flying up and down that road. ATV is usually 99% of the time, and I'm living there mostly all summer, every single year. They are driving very reasonable up and down that road. But trucks is what's screaming and raising a lot of hell on that road. It's not the ATVs, it's not even motorcycles. Motorcycles are driving very reasonable. Most everybody is, and the ATVs are doing great. I mean, I don't like it because I don't do it. I used to be the trail master. My wife was the president of the club years ago before he took over. And we've seen a lot of that shit, and we couldn't do it because we were in that position. But let me tell you, we wanted to ride that road like everybody else did, but we just couldn't do that. And it would be something nice to be able to today. Thank you very much.
Sir?
My name's Kevin, I'm trail master for Ebden. It's actually Ebden and Lexington, so we have some unorganized territory, so I'm a little familiar with that commission that you're talking about. I mostly dealt with Dave Spencer down there, and they were very, very helpful. Like Ben was saying, you know, we were approached by people from the town, asking for access. And, you know, it was everywhere, you know, between just statements like, you know, this is Maine and we should be able to get out of our house, to, you know, that, you know, it's just, convenience. And then another part was, somebody said at the illegal riding, you know, Crosstown and Ebden, had a lot of traffic of people illegally riding. And, what we sort of found is it's like a phenomenon that when you're doing something wrong, you tend to do it faster. You think like, you know, I don't wanna get caught. So you're going like twice as fast, and, so, you know, the town was for it. It's been great, and, that illegal traffic on Crosstown slowed way down. There's still a couple, because there's one road, there's Loon, and then across the street from that, they're deadlocked and they can't get out. So there's a couple scragglers that will sneak, but, the major traffic that, like all day, was running across town. Now we have ways to get around, and, you know, our main goal is to try to get off of the roads as much as we can. But by you know, snowmobiling, you can go across, you know, swamps, it's all frozen and stuff like that. And, ATVs, we really can't do that stuff. So by having roads open, now you can sort of see, well, there is a logging road that goes down to there. So now you have the possibility to expand the actual dirt trail system too. You know, Ebden, there isn't a lot of business there, so, you know, we couldn't sell it on, it's like a big business thing. It was, what they did is they opened every town road. And, you know, it's just been beneficial for all the people that live there, that rent there, the Airbnbs, things like that, but it's mostly just for the town residents. If they wanna be able to, you know, get home from work and go for a ride, you know, they can get to the trailhead. And, like I said, you know, the only complaints we've had is people that complain about it and they don't even live in town. know, there's always that complainer.
I'd like to, just say, to compare the forks with, any other town in Maine is, we actually, for town roads, we have 2.1 miles. That's it. So the rest are either state or county owned. So, and a lot of these other towns have, you know, generous soft shoulders. Like when you go down to Bingham and you see ATVs, you know, they're generally, you know, they don't ride right in the road generally. So we're talking about a completely different, set of circumstances. And I also wanna ask one more question is, I just can't understand why the trail isn't being used. Why that isn't like the main option.
I suggest, I don't think that you're correct on that it's not a comparable, many, close to different towns, but there's a lot of, the majority of the roads are ride with traffic. The areas that they have trails that are right on the shoulder, they've actually, most of there's more of an issue because you have to go around the ATVs, they slow traffic, it's more of a safety concern. And in terms of not using the trail, it's not about not using the trail, it's about the time and the distance for users to come into town, so it's an additional option. And, so even if the road was a perfectly graded road, you still wanna find different variety and access routes for people to access, because they're right there, they have no way of getting from their house. And I think that's kind of the spirit of what this community is supposed to be about, is allowing everybody to enjoy why they're here. And a lot of that is some kind of motorized activity, or whether it's, like, you can take a bicycle and leave your house, but you can't with an ATV, but lots of people move here and can't ride ATVs. So I think that even if the road was paved on it, I think it's more options for.
You mean if the trail was?
If the trail was paved, you'd still, it doesn't help the people on the road that need to get out and want to.
In that case, I think that the statute should be rewritten, and hopefully the state of Maine does address, because, this is the statute right there, you probably can't read it, but it says to ride on the extreme right and not to be,
I think it has the option in there, right?
Yes, it does, it has the option.
Yeah,
I'm Bangham's Trail Master. I'm Scott Robertson, and the only time we ride is on 201, which is recently but it's been shut down. We stay with the flow of traffic. So as far as your comment saying that we ride way to the right, that is absolutely not true. The biggest thing with that is when you have parking spots, like Ben's talking about,
Yeah.
we don't want people parked and then you pop out from somebody's pulling, say, out of Napa and downtown.
Yeah.
That's why we stay with the flow of traffic. So the comment, I'm just saying, is false as far as that. The only time was with 201 when the KVT got shut down. That's the only time that Bingham, so I'm very well aware of how Bingham operates.
Edton doesn't ride the shoulder, we don't have shoulders, they're just roads.
Okay.
And there is a thing
Yeah,
that.
do you mind if I hold you? We've got some folks that have raised their hands. Just keep that thought. Dave has a quick comment.
I just want to comment on that whole part of it. I've talked to local law officials, the deputies, game wardens, and state police, and they all encourage, if this does go follow through, it would be go with the flow of traffic. That was their main, that was the one thing they could get out of it, and that would be it.
The way that I interpret this extreme right of the way of travel is just the right side of the lane of travel, not, not expected to be in the shoulder.
Right.
Just not in the wrong lane and not hugging the yellow line. The extreme right of the current lane of travel. Okay, we had some hands come up. I'm gonna try my best to do it in order. I think it was Clyde, then Matt, and then man, after that, you.
And I was just gonna say, in riding the shoulders actually causes another problem, as some of these guys have to go out several times throughout the year and grade it back out, because when you ride it half on, half off, it makes a rut down the side of it. And I don't know how many people's gone up the road that's had the dirt, grab them and pull them, but I know it's happened to me several times in different areas. They fixed it more with wider shoulders, but for a while there it was pretty skinny up. And if you get off that road at all, it pulls you, and especially if there's four-wheeler ruts down the sides of the ditch. And I've been on that road for 18 years, so I'm familiar with it as well.
Matt?
Yep, I'll probably take the full 3 minutes. If I go over, just stop me. My name's Matthew Fredmore. My family's been in the area for just over 70 years, and I've been here for just over 40. And recently moved back about 2 years ago. I'm all about small business, I'm all about ATVing, I'm all about dirt biking and wheeling and everything else. I've done all of it all my life. I've raced all around the world. But however, when it comes to this road, I highly oppose of it. So I'd just like to open up with some safety concerns for the local community. When it comes to signage, we all love signage. However, the town failed on even putting up 5 speed frost heave signs this winter. So I'm not to say that the club can't do it, but I mean, if you can put up 5 frost heave signs, I don't foresee this signage going up and who's gonna follow it. When it comes to signage, I saw someone die firsthand on a snowmobile trail this winter on a logging road that is heavily traveled by active logging, even though there's signage everywhere for the active loggers and the truckers, letting us know, hey, there is a crossing here, and letting it is an ATV trail as well in the summer. In the winter, it's a snowmobile trail, but however, someone going too fast, which statistics show in Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont, and I believe Massachusetts, it's like over 40% of stops, ATVers and UTVers are speeding. This instance in Jackman, the person was speeding and pretty much almost got decapitated by running under a box truck. So all it's gonna take is one of those instances to happen here in, in the Forks, and who's gonna be held responsible? You know, is it?
Snowmobiler that didn't stop at the stop sign, that,
Yeah,
yeah.
okay, all right, so, you wanna talk, or can I talk?
Sorry, go right ahead, but I know that call when there was a blamed stop sign and they.
I know, correct, they ran it, who's to say they're gonna pay attention to the road signs here? So before, on, you're gonna get me all fired up, so on my way to the meeting, all right, going off of what, is it Mr. Fowler, Jake Fowler? What you said about the runoff on the road, and like you said, ma'am, whose financial responsibility is it to take care of that once the ATVs and UTVs do push it off? Because it's going to happen. I agree, we all do our best to stay on the road, on the marked trail. We will all try, but it is going to happen. What I would like to ask is, what is the ATV and UTV count of rentals and out-of-staters that come here on a weekly and weekend basis and on a monthly basis? Do we have any data that presents out-of-staters that may not know the signage? Are they going to have safety and protocol training at all the ATV rental places? Those riders may not know. All it's gonna take is one person going too fast, whether it's a log truck or the ATVer, something's gonna happen, and who's gonna be held liable? And at that point, when that word comes out, will that help bring business? Will that help bring more ATV and UTV count to the local area to drive business? So that's what I have as far as safety and cost. Noise and quality of life, residents will face increased noise and disruption, especially during evenings, weekends, and tourist seasons. This impacts families, property owners, and overall the character of our community. Goes for Lake Moxie Road. I know they're trying to log down that right now, and they're trying to shut that down. Limited economic benefit. I did provide I have prepared an executive KPI model for the Forks, ATV, and Lake Moxie access route based off of, I don't have the data for how many ATVs and UTVs currently come here during the week and throughout the weekends and heavy traveled months, but to say, if a local business is in the area, what I prepared, and I can share it with all of you if you want a copy. Let's just say Barry's or your new business or any local business wants to generate $10,000 of gross revenue for a 5-day period. They're gonna have to attract, depending on what their products and sales are, they're gonna have to attract somewhere between 221 to 777 ATV and UTVs. That's based off of 2 riders per machine. So with that, if that count is there, if by opening the road would help the local community that much, would it also help in providing jobs? If Barry's, the restaurants and so on and so forth is generating an extra $10,000 a week, $40,000 a month, can they then have an opportunity to post a part-time or full-time job for a local resident? Maybe someone that can't afford an ATV or UTV to do what we like to do, or maybe there's someone that's trying to save up for a car. So that's a way that driving this traffic could also help the local community, and also, with that money going back into the businesses, could attract, we said it earlier this summer, could attract people from further distances to come, because you may have the income generated to be able to pay that employee. So you could stay open an hour or two later, or stay open later in the evening or open earlier in the evening.
All right, Matt, I'm at 5.5 minutes here, so you've got a quick closing remark, we'll give it to you, but if not,
Yeah.
you're welcome to submit any of that to the Board of Assessors and we'll review it.
Yeah, my closing remarks is, I support local businesses and tourism, but not at the expense of residents and safety and quality of life. Lake Moxie Road should remain a safe, reliable roadway for motorists and commercial traffic, not an ATV access route.
You wanna submit anything for us to review?
Yep, can I get you now?
You can or after, it's fine.
Oh,
Either.
if I can get that.
And for what he said, I was stating we are already making problems on the side of the road. If we were staying on the blacktop, we wouldn't make that rut. I wasn't saying it's going to happen, it's already happening because of the way we have it now.
Who else had it? Tom, did you have your hand up a minute ago?
No,
Okay, yeah?
Just want to share, we have a, camp down on the Lake Moxie Road, have for 20 years or so. And we have stopped coming this way, when we go riding, look at us, we're old, we go out to eat, we come back and we take a nap. Been doing that for quite a few years now, but all of our business has gone east because of the trail up back. And we would love to come this way.
Yeah, I'd like to support our town people, but
And we would.
I go to Greenville.
Yeah.
Because the trail is too rough, is that so?
And we have snowmobiled that trail, and it was rough in the winter, it's Mother Nature out there working, it's not, I don't fault anybody for grooming, it's just, if it rains, it washes, we've seen it happen, so, we just don't come this way anymore, and we want to.
Actually, we'll go there first, we'll come back
Me?
around.
So I'm Scott, like I said, I'm Moose Valley Trailmaster. We're the fourth largest club, not by member wise, it's by mileage wise. We do 8 towns total. I was responsible for getting the town of Solon totally open. As of this fall, every town road will be open come next season for a 1-year trial period as well, along with working with Kevin over in Emden. Some missed facts that were stated earlier. There's actually 2.5 people per ATV is what the state, you can check that as far as state record, with 4 seaters and all that, so it's actually 2.5 people per. So that number is actually a little bit more when you talk money-wise, recreation, patronizing restaurants, stuff like that. The washing out on the side of the roads, if you knew anything about that, it would be determined that the state actually does not give you any dirt shoulder roads. The state only approves if it's a tarred shoulder. So they do not want you on the shoulder. So there should be no shoulder damage from that. It has to be state approved, and that's how we did get 201, was because of a paved shoulder. Any other time, the state or any club should not want you to be on the ditch in any sort of dirt road, down in there. It's with the flow of traffic, so there's quite a bit of, false information that seems to be circulating, as far as, anybody can check those facts, or I could give you that right directly from the state. That's available through Brandon Cross too, our regional director. Like I said, so my family owned Griswolds for a lot of years. It absolutely was a game changer. We actually did hire 4 people just on account of snowmobiles and ATVs opening up, our business to recreation. So it does create a lot of jobs in the area. One thing I can say, as far as we do have multi-use trails, we have the KBT, which just opened recently. We have had 0 complaints about horseback riders. I got pictures on my phone. Over a dozen horseback riders at one time. We got people walking every day, fishing. We have absolutely no trouble. If you open access, we have 6 set up through the Warden Service, 6 safety checkpoints every year that's determined by them that actually does enforcement on that. if you talk to any local sheriff, game warden, they're not gonna go to a spot that has illegal or no access when they can stop up on a trail, say, 200 people on a day, or try to get one person riding illegally on, the Moxie Road. So you actually can get more leverage through the state as far as with the sheriff's department and with the warden service, and actually they'll set up checkpoints with our club. And we're very active with that.
Thanks for your input, sir.
I was gonna sort of say what he was saying, and, this gentleman sort of alluded a little bit to his conversations with the sheriffs and things like that, and this has been, a round and round type of conversation, but the police, they agree with, it should be with the flow of traffic. If you're in a car or in a truck and you're bombing down the road, and all of a sudden you come up on an ATV that is supposed to be going 25 miles an hour, it creates a problem. If the speed limit's 35, the four-wheeler should go for 35, I don't know if you guys wanna try to get a speed limit going or whatever, but if you talk to, the sheriffs and things like that, they'll want you to be going with the flow of traffic, because of that reason, you come around the corner and then there's a four-wheeler, you're telling them to go 25.
Just to clarify, if this moves forward, the expectation would be with the flow of traffic in the paved way, in the right side lane. Right. Did you want to add to?
Yeah, I'm with her husband, we have a camp down there and up by the Moxie Lake. And I've been, four-wheeling for years, and I've been dirt riding for 50 years. I started out with motorcycles, got a little older, got ATVs, UTVs, and now we have another UTV. And I belong to three different clubs. One is in Rooster County, in Marsville. If you wanna ride up there, you have to have a sticker for Irving and abide by all of their rules. But you can ride into town, Presque Isle, any of those towns, you can drive right down Main Street as long as you stay with the flow of traffic. And you can go anywhere you want. You go into town, or you can go to Walmart if you wanted to. And one Fairfield we belong to, you've probably seen the Glow Ride, it was in the paper, 360 four-wheelers showed up for a ride through Waterville and Fairfield. And the hotels were all filled up, parking lots, people came from all over the state and New England. There was 360 of them riding through town, and police escorts all the way, and happy to do it. They set up and do it. But what I'm trying to say is, it's very good, I would think, for businesses to have these people to know you got your office, your little restaurants here in town, which we love, the store, but when we go with a four-wheeler, if we're gonna go north or west, we trailer from Moxie Lake down to the ballpark, and then we'll take a ride. Because if we have to come across the trail, it just takes forever and it beats you up. And so, but it would be nice to go down the road, but all the roads we ride on those three clubs, you don't ride on any shoulders. It's always on with a flow of traffic on the hot side.
Charlie?
I was hoping that somebody, any of the residents here, have anything to say. Appreciate everybody's input, but I'm particularly interested in if anybody that is a resident, such as Matt, has anything that they would like to say.
So I'll speak, I am a resident of the Forks, we live on the Moxie Village, down Treadwell. And I would say we've been here about 8 years, and out of those 8 years, we never ride into town. The first year we rode into town, and it's 45 minutes from Caribou Narrows into Berries. We can go to Greenville in half an hour and not be beat to death. So we love the town, we want businesses in town to flourish, but we don't come this way. Conditions, it's rough, the time is, 45 minutes down, 45 minutes back. It's dark at, 8 o'clock. And the other thing I would challenge folks to think about is, analysis paralysis. The more you analyze this, you're never gonna get anywhere. So you have to sort of think outside the box, hopefully take a chance. It is a probationary period that we're talking about. There's risk with anything, accidents, that's why they're called accidents, it's never intentional. And fiscally, we're dumping money into that trail back there for maintenance year after year after year after year to see it get washed away when it's raining, and to no avail, not helping anything. So use that money to improve another set of trails or other access trails. I will say, yeah, people drive fast down Lake Moxie. It's not always the ATVs, it's, trucks, cars, everybody. I think with signage that you share the road, I came from a town, we shared the road with horse and buggy. You just learn that, you need to know that you're sharing the road with other forms of transportation. So, definitely have my support to do it, I know you have my husband's support, and I think we just, it's not a forever. It's maybe a trial and maybe it doesn't work, I don't know, but, I would encourage people to just be open-minded about that.
One small question. Is it possible are the selectmen in favor of this?
I think we're letting this, the input that's being provided tonight is influencing significantly how we approach it.
Do you have opinions, any of you?
Well, I'll take the opportunity to speak as a resident at Charlie's invitation. So I do reside in the Forks. I do now own a business across the bridge in the West Forks. And I'll reiterate that the chief complaint that I heard from visitors this summer was not chiefly the condition of the trail. It is a tough trail to maintain because of its grade, and when it rains, it washes out easily. But it's also it's a funnel trail, right? So all the trails from just about anywhere, anywhere you're coming in from have to funnel down that trail to get to town. So it receives, I'm trying to paraphrase what I've learned from Ben, it receives a lot more wheels than all the other trails that come into that trail, because they all funnel into that. So maintenance efforts year over year can't quite keep up with that. If a portion of that traffic was moved onto Moxie Road, it seems to me, based on Ben's opinion, that it will make maintenance of that trail go longer and easier to achieve. If, say, half of the traffic moves to the road for efficiency's sake, and half of the traffic stays on for fun's sake. Again, it wasn't chiefly about the condition of the trail, it was more so about the time commitment to get from that really important junction at Troutdale and Moxie Road down to the hub of the community and back out. People are designing their loop rides around where they're gonna stop for gas or stop for food, and when they get to that intersection and they think, man, it's, 45 minutes is a competent rider. I've been trying now over the summer to ask specific questions. How long did it take you to get from A to B there? And it was always an hour or more, they could have been estimating, but because of those anecdotal stories, I've just accepted that it's like an hour each way from the Moxie boat ramp to Barry's General Store. So when someone's making a decision, are we gonna scoot down into town on this ride we're making around these communities or not? They're thinking, is a 2-hour commitment worth a bite to eat at one of our restaurants or Barry's General Store? Or do we even have the gas to get there? Can we get to Greenville quicker with less gas? I think it's the time commitment. As far as, from a business stance, again, resident of the Forks, business owner in the West Forks. So my livelihood as a resident depends on that business in the Forks, or in the West Forks, I'm sorry. Even just living here and watching the change and being someone that visited here my whole life, watching the change in recreational activity from the changes in the rafting industry, the changing in, climate-related changes that are forcing less people to snowmobile, and then more specifically, I'm already experiencing what it feels like to have less traffic from the corridor workers, right? So we're kind of losing on multiple fronts built-in business, and if this is an opportunity, I can't speak to those KPIs you gave Matt without comparing them to my books, but if it means that I can keep my employees on full-time one more month than I usually might be able to, it's important to me. It's important to not only my livelihood, but their livelihood, that we can, that we can have more ATV traffic right into the fall months and not have to decrease hours because they're just not coming down. I heard the refrain more than once, I'm paraphrasing all of them into one, but the implication was, we would love to come back, but we aren't coming back, essentially. We love this place, but if that's the only way in and out of town, we won't be back this year. I asked direct questions of them, because this
You
became,
must have heard that.
you know, in July, this kind of became my charge to figure out, so I started really polling people about how was the ride in, where'd you come from, what do you think of the trail, but, you know, and, without alluding too much into what we were talking about, just kind of listening, but the overall implication was, we will go somewhere else, where it's easier to get to places.
I think Chuck wanted to speak.
He did? Oh, sure, sorry, I didn't see your hand there.
Hey, man, Chuck Peloy from Crabapple. For people that stay from me, they go across the bridge, it isn't a big deal, but going down that road is at all-time high speeds right now. I drive every day with the bus, trucks are over the yellow line all the time. It's a windy road, I don't even see how you could maintain a steady 45 on the whole way up. And a lot of pitches, twists and turns. For me, it's just a straight safety issue. I don't wanna see a lot of off-road vehicles on that, I think it's dangerous. And if we get the 30% increase that they did in Greenville, that's gonna put 20% more traffic on there than what's on there now. I just think it's a safety issue, and I think you got serious issues like that. That being said, I don't ride, but that's my personal proposal to it. And it's a brutally fast road now, and on a Saturday, it's life-threatening. And the cops are only gonna do so much. They make a run up here once in a while, but it's worse since we paved it. Before we paved the road, everybody drove slower because they couldn't go faster. That's the goddamn truth. And nobody will deny that, and what Mr. Greenlee said is true too. The trucks go like hell down through there. I mean, if you put a bunch of ATVs on there, you got a place you can go now. I don't see what the big problem is, but however it shakes out, my hair ain't gonna turn around again.
Thank you, Chuck. Jim, did you have your hand up a minute ago or no?
I did.
Okay.
Yeah, Jim St. Laurent here. So you said half the traffic is gonna go down the road, half the traffic's gonna stay on the trail. Impossible. Everybody's gonna stay on the road. So exactly, I mean, if you've got 100 riders, 50 of them aren't gonna stay on the trail and 50 gonna go down the road. They're all gonna go down the road. Now, also, we talked about flow of traffic and speed limits. All right, well, the flow of traffic is not the speed limit. Tractor trailers, 80,000 pounds, they're rolling down there at 50 miles an hour, all right? So what's gonna happen when they come into the S-turns and there's an ATV doing 25? Somebody's gonna be scraping parts off the road.
That would be me.
That would be you. And
Driver must be breaking the speed limit then, correct?
They do already.
yeah.
That-
so the.
Nobody
the
drives
main
the
thing
speed
is-
limit on that road. Can we generally agree on that?
That's human nature.
Anybody that says they drive the speed limit all the time on that road?
But we're saying the trucks, but the buses are just as bad.
Jim, did you have anything further to say?
Our bus does not speed on that.
Hold on a second, let's let Jim.
Absolutely
finish.
not. That's for goddamn sure.
Take that up.
So
Can't
with
go
all
over
that,
35.
yeah, with all that said, it was brought up, jumping in your buggy, going to the bar to get a drink. So are you comfortable with people leaving your bar under the influence on an off-road vehicle driving on a public road?
I would not support that at all.
It's gonna happen everybody.
Side by sides, we don't wear helmets, we don't wear our seatbelts. So you're encouraging people to go to bars and drink, then jump back in the buggy and go back to their camp under the influence on a public road.
Just so they get here 30 minutes faster. This is how liable.
So,
Yeah, they do it in vehicles all the time. Not that it's good, but.
I know, I'm just saying, so why increase the risk factor?
let's rein it back in, folks, okay? So, Jim, do you have anything further, or is that it?
I got one last thing.
Okay.
So you talked about talking to all these people since June or July. Do you have documentation on that? I would like to see document. Word of mouth does not fly anymore.
Okay, it's just anecdotal conversation, I admit.
And start over and start getting written consents, statements.
Okay, I'm probably not gonna,
That won't take long.
I'm not gonna sign consents forms in my restaurant, but I understand. I preempted, I said it was anecdotal.
I mean, it's just hearsay.
You're right.
You're telling me, you know, you had X amount of people, you've got no proof that X amount of people said that.
Okay.
That's
I'll,
it. Thank you.
Okay, so just to reiterate, this is not something that the Board of Assessors has taken a position on, that, we intend to communicate until we have the input of the town. I brought this to the board because of these anecdotal conversations I received from locals of the Forks, West Forks, Caratunk visitors alike, and we move forward from that. That was the impetus of this whole thing, not anything from the clubs or from this Board of Assessors originally. Jim, you had your hand up.
Well, first, I'd just like to say I appreciate everybody's, point of view on this. I think everybody makes a good point, really, I do. You know, the trail currently goes by my business, the Inn by the River, you know, and I'm essentially gonna vote to move it away from it, you know? Which I do think that it coming down the road will bring more business to all of the businesses in town, and I think we need all of the businesses in town. Restaurants, ferries, all of these people need that income, to keep everybody floating, keeping people living here. You know, would I love the trail behind our place to be, nice and smooth like the road, so everybody could cruise down there? Sure, but I know what that's gonna cost, it's a lot of money. I think that a trial period, it sounds great, I think we should try it, you know, and I'm on the fire department as well, I've been to those, you know, awful snowmobile crashes and ATV crashes, and, you know, I've seen all of that, I know how this goes. I think that it's worth a try. I don't think that, the risk reward is there, that, and as far as, you know, it's too risky. I think riders will, you know, appreciate it, we can put signage up and all that stuff and give it a shot, so.
One closing piece of information from the club's perspective is, we're not gonna stop maintaining the trails, and, you know, we do have plans to keep improving them, and unfortunately, we do have some issues with the climate change that has caused a lot of problems and have diverted money to other areas, and we can't always spend, we don't always have the revenue to spend what we wanna spend, but our intention is always to keep improving the trail systems, and I, from a club perspective, I get a ton of messages from people who do not want to ride on roads or dirt roads, they want that type of trail, they want that return, so I think that the idea that everybody's gonna take the road is I don't find that to be accurate. At least from my perspective and my memberships, I think it's more the other way around. I think there's more people that you're gonna see an increase for sure, but a lot of people want that trail experience. So, let's.
Is there I guess for Ben and, mainly to Ben, or whoever really, mainly to Ben, is there anything we could do to work with other clubs and towns that, all you know, I guess you said our trail is pretty much like a funnel. Can we work with those other towns to get donations or anything, so to help, because if there's more people here, there's more people leaving here, going back to wherever they came from, et cetera, keeps them off the road, keeps them on the trail, everyone's happy, and if it's a $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 expense, we raise the funds in 3, 4, 5, 6 months, or if it takes a year, it takes a year, but why don't we just address the issue, fix it, and then.
It's not really possible logistically. First of all, we have 3 major landowners we deal with, Weyerhaeuser, and Wagner. So they're committed through that section, so they are only allowing us to have one point of connectivity from town to town. That's why we don't have any loops. We have one funnel trail.
I understand that.
And it's, they're not gonna open up more access.
Oh, not access, more access, just fixing that section of trail, and I do have connections to owners of all the 3 businesses to potentially help.
It's not about that, I mean, it's, the funding to do that, we spend, you know, $70,000, $80,000 a year now.
On that one section?
No, across all of our trail system, we're limited grants. If the town wants to raise more money, certainly we put more money, but it doesn't change what we're trying to do or what this proposal is. Like I said, even if that trail was perfect, it still doesn't address the concerns of the locals who want access.
Yeah, what I heard is they wanna get here faster, the time constraint,
Right,
so
that's
if we
why they
fix
voted for it.
a mile or 2 a trail at X amount of cost to get more traffic here, to help the local businesses and keep the residents happy, at what cost would it take to do that?
That's right, it's about 70,000 a mile, and, you know, it's a.
How many miles are we talking about?
It's about
2 miles.
5.5 miles, and I'll also bring up another point, that we're gonna be off the Boise Road at the end of this year, and we're gonna be on the corridor, which is, far more challenging and rough, and we're gonna have to put in $100,000 into that just to do that section. And now you're gonna add a half, 3/4 of a mile on a very challenging terrain. It doesn't matter how much money you put into it, it's gonna be rough access from the Moxie.
Was it Andy Webb that just fixed the front piece behind your place, or behind the Marshall?
I think, no, I don't think it costs.
I mean, if you look at, I don't know how much that cost, But that's already destroyed
Yeah,
pretty decently.
we spent almost $100,000 the last 4 or 5 years from the Lake Moxie Road all the way to the Moxie Falls, trail. And we built the Moxie Falls Trail last year, but that whole section is all pretty much destroyed.
It didn't take long.
Ben, can you quickly summarize, you mentioned something there that I wasn't aware of as of yet, so next year, regardless of this motion.
Yep.
What is happening with the trail that exists currently on Boise Road? So right now it comes up Moxie to Boise and then down the trail to town.
Correct, yeah, so the plan is to go back to the Pine Road, which is a long skinny trail that goes to the power line, and then use the power line corridor to come out onto the, Lake Moxie Road. So it's a power line, it's gonna stay.
So it would zigzag, come back onto the Moxie Road.
Correct.
Closer to the Boise
And
Road.
that's the landowner's request.
Closer to the dam, okay, yeah. So that stretch between that new access off Moxie Road to where the trail crosses Boise Road, not utilizing Boise Road, that trail is also in rough condition?
Well, the trail, the Pine Road, so if
Right.
you come off the Boise Road, the Pine Road that goes all the way to the power line.
Right.
That's a pretty
Yeah,
rough
familiar with
condition.
that.
And then the power line itself is
Okay,
pretty gnarly.
that would be the new trail
That'll be the new trail.
next year, anyway.
That's the state.
It's the same trail that it used to be.
Saying,
That's a stay off trout deal.
right,
Yeah.
yes, stay off trail, yeah.
And that's generally the direction that it used to go before we used Moxie Road to get to Boise Road. Okay, now I understand. Sure.
I just have one quick question, that came to me when, Jimmy was speaking. So how are they going to, how is all this traffic coming down the Moxie Road going to get to Jimmy's business?
The trail's still open.
Yeah.
Yeah, they got-
The old trail that they don't like to use.
Right.
But then also,
I understand, I do think that they'd rather jump that half a mile, whatever it is, from there to my business. I think they'd rather drive down that and then drive over and.
so
But that's a section.
sure, so you would come
Yeah.
down.
I don't
AT
understand, so they would
ATVs
get from the
and-
Moxie Road to you by going out?
Up the,
Behind
where the old trail is, where the trail goes down. Not
Behind
old
the
trail,
marsh, so they
the
wouldn't
current
come
trail.
down the Moxie Road.
They wouldn't come down the hill behind the Inn by the river. They would come down the Moxie Road and then take a left and head out behind the Marshall and
Okay,
get to me that way.
okay, above us.
Yeah, and, you know,
But
I
they,
have to
so
put
they still
signage.
could get to you.
Yeah.
Or they'd take the right over the bridge across from you guys.
And that
Right
trail's
there,
not
left
going
there.
anywhere, it's just, I recently got a four-wheeler,
To go to
and I took it up there
Yeah,
yesterday.
no, I was just concerned about him.
It's rough, it wasn't fun, you know?
So the idea is that traffic would have the option to come down Moxie Road to the split at either the bridge across the Kennebec or the trail behind your place, to go north or south respectively.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not just going down 205.
No, this has nothing to do with 201.
Okay.
Susan?
I just have another quick question, is, I don't have an ATV, so it's probably obvious by some of my questions, but do people who access these trails, do they pay anything more than the registration, whether it's a resident or an out-of-state person, to use these trails and it sounds like really abuse them, or not abuse them, but they get worn out from use?
You join a club.
Join a
Usually if
club.
you ride, you join a club.
Okay, and so, but are you required to?
No, it's.
You are in Aroostook County.
Yeah.
If you ride in Irving Lands, which owns all of Aroostook County, the woods,
Yeah,
you've got to be, in a, ATV club and show a sticker and a membership card, or they will confiscate your ATV.
wow, so, I mean, that,
Foresters will do that. I ride in Marshall, that's where I'm from originally, and as long as the club will, and when we ride north out of there, you better have a sticker if you're going through the woods.
would that help this situation to try to?
They just want you to be a club member, so they can support the club to maintain the trail.
That's what I'm asking, it would,
They do there, I don't know
would
anywhere
required,
else.
membership help the trails?
Membership is what supports all of this.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, you got
Just
the
don't have the
grants.
ability at club
To
level to make
enforce
those
it.
kind of decisions.
The biggest percentage of the trail for your
Okay.
One last thing.
Just
Stay
a
on
question,
task,
yeah,
yeah.
just a
I
question.
think we need to wrap
Yeah,
up,
yeah.
I think.
I'll make, so I was reminded at a previous comment regarding, coming and going from establishments that serve alcohol on these side-by-sides ATVs. This proposal I'm about to make comes from a concern about that, as well as a concern for noise and traffic in the after hours, but I would like to propose a further amendment to this that includes a 9 PM curfew, season long, regardless of what time the sun goes down. 9 PM curfew is my proposal as an amendment.
That's just going up Moxie?
Just on Moxie, yeah. So the idea is that, it keeps traffic from going through there at the middle of the night. ATVs and side-by-sides tend to be louder than vehicles. And,
Reading and 8, 9 o'clock, they gotta get back to camp.
well, that's the part of the concern that comes from, as a business owner that serves alcohol. I don't want someone coming and doing a 4-hour shift at my bar and then leaving on a
No,
side-by-side,
but you might
period.
come in at 7:30 and eat supper,
Yeah.
you ain't gonna make it back to Moxie.
So you go back
No,
and
sure.
And if you're leaving, if you were leaving anywhere in the community, the central village of the Forks or West Forks, in order to be back to Moxie Lake by 9 PM, you'd have to be leaving by 8:30, 8:45.
Who would enforce that though?
Exactly.
Who would enforce that? There's not gonna be any cops out there. There aren't any
How does
now.
that work in Greenville, because they already have that rule at
Can I
9
speak on
o'clock?
this?
I don't care anyway, I mean,
Did I
nobody's
get a
gonna enforce
second
it.
on that motion?
Some poor guy has to get back
So
to 9:30.
I'm proposing an amendment, so we need to have a motion to consider that.
I thought yours was the motion.
I guess, okay, I can make the motion, we have a second, and then there's a discussion. So now we're having a discussion on that proposed amendment to have a 9 PM curfew. Especially we'd like input from club masters that already have this kind of curfew.
So, I can tell you from a legal perspective on it, if you don't have it in the town ordinance, there's absolutely nothing game wardens or anybody can do about it.
Well, that's too bad, because we can't have ordinances, because we're a plantation.
Right, I'm just saying, it's not enforceable. I, as a club, can say 10 o'clock on the KVP, it's not enforceable. If it's not in the town ordinance, you cannot enforce, you can't even enforce speed. Speed in the state of Maine, on the state level, does not have an ATV speed limit, let's just be honest about it. And the other one is, like I said, down in our area, if you do not have it as a town ordinance, it cannot be enforced. So trying to enforce it on one road is gonna be a very hard task, very, very hard task. As far as legality.
Go ahead.
Just a quick point from a business owner who's had owned a couple of different bars, is it is technically not gonna matter if you're driving an ATV, a motorcycle, honestly, a regular hybrid bike, whatever you wanna call it. It comes down to that business monitoring, you're not gonna let anyone sit at your bar for 4 hours and pound drinks anyway. So, that liability is on me as a server, me as a business owner, and that's where that liability is. So, and who's to say if I'm driving my vehicle, I sit at the Hawks Nest for 2 hours, then I go over to the Marshall, and then I go up to Northern. Unfortunately, that's not up to the ATV trails or the roadway or anything like that. That comes down to, number one, the person, and number two, the business owner themselves, unfortunately. That's where liquor liability.
Can we vote on this amendment?
Trailmaster for Ebden, we said 10 o'clock and it's not enforceable. But, as most know, rules keep the honest people honest, So, I mean, you'd probably get the majority of people hearing 10 o'clock and then be like, oh, we can't go. And then you're always gonna get a few stragglers that are either, they broke down, they got a flat tire, they're still trying to get home. You're gonna get a few stragglers that are gonna beat the rule, but we went with 10, and that's what we did.
Who wants to ride after dark?
Everybody. Too many do. Trust me. I hear
Chuck, go ahead.
Yeah.
Let's let Chuck have the floor, please.
As a town, I don't think we should be in the business, plantation, whatever we are.
No, but we can't.
We shouldn't be in the business of setting curfews.
We
We
can't.
can anyway,
No,
legally?
no.
Oh, okay, well, that's even better. But we shouldn't be in the business of setting curfews and telling people when they can ride, when they can't. If they're gonna go out on a Saturday night, they go out on a Saturday night, and they're either responsible or they're not, and most people are. But I don't think we should even attempt that. Besides that, I mean, we're gonna tell somebody at 9 o'clock the curfew's coming, and why is 9, so it's 7:15 and it's almost dark now, what's the difference? I mean, another,
The bar doesn't close till 9.
oh.
So you say that.
No, I don't think we should be in the business of setting curfews, let the law enforcement do that.
So you say that about not telling people when they can ride and when they can't, but yet you wanna tell people where they can ride and where they can't.
Yeah, well, it's
You
legal
can't
to
have it
ride.
both ways.
I'm not telling anybody where they can ride, I just said I'm opposed to putting more people on the road, that's my opinion. Free country.
Are we ready to make a motion to vote on this proposal for the amendment of curfew? Well, that's, now, knowing what we know now, you wanna make a motion to have a vote on that?
You want me to?
Sure.
I make a motion, we, vote on that, the amendment of the curfew.
And then Samantha, you second.
So read the amendment, please.
All those in favor of adding an amendment to this proposal that installs a 9 PM curfew for travel by ATVs or UTVs on Lake Moxie Road?
You're in
Raise your
favor?
hands. All those in favor?
This all in 365, 24/7?
It would be for the ATV season.
What about Fourth of July?
For the ATV season.
Okay, no ATVs down there.
Okay, so that was 6, 7.
If you're in favor of the proposal to add a 9 PM curfew, please raise your cards.
4, 5, 6, 7.
8.
8.
All those opposed?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9,
Motion fails.
What'd you say?
10.
The motion fails. So with that, we're back to this proposal as it's read on the screen here. Is there any more discussion on this proposal, or would we like to move to a vote?
I have one thing I want to say. I just want to ask, is anyone on the board or anyone in this room familiar with Maine State Bill Lima Delta 557, which was proposed in beginning of 2025?
I'm not, no.
It's a very, almost word for word bill. And the bill was defeated, placed in legislature's files dead on April 15th, 2025, reflecting existing legislative concerns about safety and liability to the municipality, town, and the state.
In what regard, please?
In what regard?
Yeah, to ATVs
So,
or
yeah,
to
to
driving?
exactly what they're trying to do now.
Okay.
What was the LD number?
LD 557.
557?
Correct.
They were asking to open all the roads.
All the rules.
With a posted speed limit of, I believe it was 45.
Very similar to what we're trying to do
And
here.
that didn't pass for multiple reasons, Matt's trying to put a blanket on it, there was multiple
We're
reasons.
just trying to keep people safe.
Okay, so we will, I assure you, we'll look into and consider, LD 557 as part of our process.
Can this be changed by the commissioners?
So, the part there about public vote by referendum, so, what this is proposing is a probationary period for next season. At the end of that season, we will reconvene, assess, as a board of assessors, the success of the change, and then we will,
County commissioners, that's what I'm wondering, can they change that?
Can we raise our hand when we need to speak? We have other people that have been raising their hand.
to answer Troy, the county commissioners, regardless of what we do tonight, could vote against this, and then the whole thing is moved. Tom, you had your hand up?
Yeah, all this boils down to a matter of convenience versus public safety. We have ATV access currently. Some people choose not to use it because it's too rough or it takes too long. Most people here have probably drove up Moxie Road on Saturday morning lately. When's the most traffic traffic? When's the majority of the ATV traffic? They're all on Saturday. This is a major risk. It's a narrow road, there's no shoulders. Following people down what's already open, which I still disagree with, is a crapshoot. Either they're going 60 or they're going 15. Either way is a traffic hazard. It's not gonna change when we open the rest of this up. There's no benefit. Access is, it will help access to a handful of people in Moxie Door. I believe you guys have access to Franklin now?
We don't.
No, we don't.
But,
No,
it's not very far down the road until they can.
We have to trail
But for everybody
them. Come on.
from Lake Moxie to the Forks, they have a way to get there. If it takes you too long to get the berries or to the restaurant, drive your truck.
Or don't go, which is what happened.
Which is what?
We are happening now.
that's what I'm trying to do.
Kat, you've got your hand up.
Yeah, can I motion to bring this to a vote? This is like no longer productive.
Second,
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, we've had a motion to bring this to a vote. There's been a second.
all in favor?
All in favor? All opposed? Motion passes to take the vote. A reminder, this is a non-binding straw poll vote, so this vote is to indicate your,
I'd like to make a motion that it's a private vote.
there's been a motion to make this a secret ballot vote. Do we have a second?
I second that.
We have a second. All those in favor of doing this by way of secret ballot? All those in favor of doing this by way of open ballot? The motion passes for a secret ballot. So just a reminder, non-binding, non-legal vote. This is to indicate your preference to the Board of Assessors for consideration along with the comments tonight. You can also email office@forksplt.org if you have further comment or if anybody else would like to comment on what you heard tonight. Yes would be in favor.
Yes.
Yes would be in favor. What's on the screen now would be opposed.
And please fold it in half so it fits in this little.
Does everybody have a pencil and a card that has a yes and a no on it? That is everybody with a green card.
Need to work too, you know, like we got a trailer and they got spaces.
Can
Continue.
I take your ballot and we go
Oh, you did?
Sharon did.
Okay.
Thank you, Susan.
Okay, sorry.
Sorry.
You shouldn't have done that. You know what, man? Good. Yeah, I did, I saw you had to pump it up, cognac something. Yeah.
If all the residents who wish to cast a vote in favor or opposed to this proposal, they're excited to be gone. Has anybody that's wished to cast a vote done so?
In by the river. Are you sure everybody who voted actually lives in this town?
Only residents were given these cards, so unless somebody,
Sure about that?
Are you questioning?
Don't worry, I didn't
somebody?
Yeah,
do you have a challenge vote?
just wondering, yeah.
So they were all checked in, given a ballot only if they were resident.
Yeah, but we can't have more of those slips unless, then you had people checking in, right? So you could-
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we could cross,
So if you count how many votes you have,
Yeah.
yes, you can't have more than that.
we can do that.
CRS is loading up, all my Airbnbs at 201 Powers Point. drops off 6 machines, they're not supposed to drive from point A to B.
Right.
So everybody's in the Moxie door.
No, I
They got the highest for all their machines.
14 yes and 5 no.
The vote is 14 yes and 5 no. We had 21 residents in House plus a couple of abstentions. So the Board of Assessors will take this into consideration along with your comments.
Yeah, that's never gonna be fine.
Any written comments you might want to submit, any comments you wish to email to office@theforksplt.org, and at a future date, we will hold a special Board of Assessors meeting for the three of us to vote on the matter. That is also a public meeting, and we welcome you to come to that meeting.
When is that one?
We just learned yesterday that that was a necessary step, so we haven't had the time to
I
schedule.
thought I missed what you
No.
said. I thought-
And what is the Moxie Gore thing again? Is that for resident voters as well, or is that just like that?
Excuse me, sorry.
You said that they were having some place.
So if
Moxie
this,
Gore portion of this?
so if we decide to pass this as a Board of Assessors for this municipality, the county commissioners are prepared to have this on their September 17th agenda. That is a meeting that occurs at 3 p.m. at the courthouse in Souhegan. And any residents that are, any county residents are welcome to be at that meeting for public comment. I think what you're referring to is that would be, as a Moxie Gore resident, that would be your municipal authority. So your.
That's not a vote, that's just your.
The commissioners will vote on it.
They're voting, yeah.
But you will have opportunity for public comment as you did, as our residents did for us tonight.
That's
So anybody that lives in Moxie Gore, that is your first level of local municipal authority, is the county commissioners. So those will be the people you want to reach out to if you have an input on one side or the other on this.
Thank you all for coming
Yeah,
and
thank you.
sharing your opinions and
That
your
went-
thoughts on this. It was awesome.
Yep, it went really well. I appreciate everyone being civil and sharing their thoughts on both sides. Thank you. I'll make a motion or accept the motion for adjournment. Make a motion for adjournment. Yeah, second. All in favor for adjournment?